Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Tuesday night. Almost forgot it was Tuesday night. But another wonderful Tuesday night here at the Angriest Man's place. This is the Angriest Man in Orlando show with your host, the Angriest Man. Joining you from the set of the Angry Sessions, which is going to be I guess for me, shorts video that'll be posted up on multiple platforms. So if you see those, it's a little shorter, so it'll be a lot easier to watch and have fun with them. Comment, post, share them, do whatever it is you guys do out there with them. So those will be posted from time to time. No set schedule on those. It'll just be random stuff. Usually one topic that either doesn't make it on this show or is just so spur of the moment that I had to say something. And Fridays went off without a hitch. Uh, Decided to talk about the Kyle Rittenhouse backlash. And apparently I wasn't quick enough because as soon as I posted the video of what I wanted to say with it, they pretty much had made amends and he says he's going to vote for Trump again. So like to think I may have helped with that, but I know I didn't. Didn't help at all. And well, I'm back here on a Tuesday to go over what else, what makes us angry. So, title of tonight's show is As the World Burns. So, we got some wonderful economic news Friday that the unemployment rate was going up. There weren't enough jobs posted or hired for, or however they actually count these things. I'm not even sure anymore, since every unemployment number, every employment number they have posted has been either down, up, readjusted in some type of way that I don't even think you can really trust what they're posting anymore. So it's kind of strange that they actually posted looks to be closer to true numbers this last Friday. So what happened? The world responded. Monday's opening of the Asian markets, um, because they're different time schedule over there on the other side of the earth. So Monday open, they reacted. They said if America's in a downtime, like it's not going to be good for anybody. So the sell off was on, and they lost quite a bit over there. The Korean market actually had to hit a what they call a breaker, like a circuit breaker. It basically shuts the market off if it goes down far too quickly. So the Korean market hit it. 5%, I believe, is the number. And they shut the market off. So you couldn't trade, you couldn't buy, you couldn't sell, you couldn't do anything at that point. So that triggered a whole bunch of other stuff. And as the world turns, the day goes on. And as markets come online, Europe comes next, then America comes last. All the markets started coming on and realizing a lot of people are selling. So we had a whole day of selling here in America. We lost 1,000 points on the Dow, I believe, and the other ones, all the markets basically lost 2%. So out of all that loss, money wise, it was around $2 trillion that was lost out of all that. And then the videos started. Other YouTubers, other X people, Twitterers, I don't know, other Rumble people decided to come out in full force and say that the world is burning down. You need to head for the hills, get in your bunkers, get your food, grab water. Apparently, there were some water shortages in several places that weren't even having storms. We actually just had tropical storm Debbie. Debbie does Florida apparently. It went up by the Panhandle region, what they call the Big Bend, and I'm safe and secure, so that's good. But I feel bad for the people that had to go through it. It wasn't damaging, but it certainly did flood a few places, and that's not always the best to have to deal with. So why were everybody putting out videos that said the world is burning, it's the end of the economic cycle, no one's going to recover from this? And yet today, Tuesday, people were recovering. It was a bit of a bounce back today. Not quite half of it getting back, but there was some people looking for some deals. So I'm not going to be the pessimist this time. I'm not going to be angry on this. This was something that was needed. A correction was needed. I said this last year. I said stop buying stuff. They need to get the supply back up and lower the demand a little so we can hit this smooth landing or soft landing, as they said, and things would be a little bit easier. Did anybody listen? No. Christmas time last year, sales were skyrocketing, doing great, wonderful. Okay, so nobody listened. So demand kept growing, supply kept dwindling, and then it hit a point sometime in the spring. Excuse me, just a minute. Sometime in the springtime, it hit a point where people ran out of credit, is what I think happened. You could no longer go to the buy now, pay later. There was no more credit cards. There were no more home equity left to pull from. And people simply stopped buying. And I think that's what happened. And that's what started this cycling back of companies that said, we got to lay some people off. We got to adjust some things. Sales aren't so well. And a couple companies that showed up, I've already talked about. Cons, Badcock. We got a few more this week. We got the restaurateur, Buca di Beppo, which has quite a few restaurants, Italian restaurants, around the country. They are filing bankruptcy. World of Beer, which some people in the Orlando area know very well, started out as a Tampa business. They are filing bankruptcy also to reorganize, I believe, and we'll see how they go with that. It used to be a really good place to try new beers. They had so many different flavors, and you could mix and match some. So if you wanted to taste test some new different type of beers and ales, it was a great place to go to. But as of recently, they kind of went more just commercial, dialed back the offerings a little, and just didn't feel like the local pub you could go down and just have a drink at. So we saw those two. Another one who just announced layoffs is Dell. Dell just announced a layoff of 12,500 people. And I'm sure there's going to be a ton more still coming down the pipeline at this time that you're going to see over the next few months. And some are just going to be a few people knocked out, don't have a job. It won't be a big thing to a company. But there'll be other companies that lay off quite a bit, hopefully trying to move into the AI sector and automate those positions. So, is this a bad thing? No, it's not. It's not a bad thing. This was something that was needed. It's just by holding it off from last year into this year, the landing is going to be a lot harder. So, buckle up, kids. It's going to be a bumpy ride, but it's needed. It's needed to flush out the system, bring prices back down to a reasonable rate, because the people who could afford those expensive prices, they're either done buying or they no longer can buy or they just don't want to buy. I always say you can sell a $10,000 rug as long as you have people with $10,000. Once you run out of people that have the $10,000 to buy that rug, you either have to start cutting the price or you get eliminated. It's that simple. There's no other way around it. You can't give free money to people to say, buy my rug, because then you lose your own money. So this was something that was needed and is finally happening. And that's why I say it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I'm a little angry at the people who are just sitting here screaming the sky is falling, chicken little kind of comments. Oh my gosh, everything's going down. It's a shitstorm and all this other stuff. It's not. For the ones that know, it's really not. It's opportunity time. As Warren Buffett says, be fearful when people are greedy and be greedy when people are fearful. We've had the last few years full of greed, wanting the new trucks, wanting the new homes, wanting the new toys, wanting the new stuff, and being fearful. I stacked aside cash, tried not to buy exuberant things, tried not to take those crazy trips that you saw everybody else doing, putting photos up on their Facebook of wherever they were. And I tried to stay locked in as much as I could. Well, now is the time to unlock it. Now's the time. Now it's just starting. This is not the end of it all. This is just starting. So, what can you do starting now? Well, if you're in need of something, start looking for it. You need a new home, you need a new vehicle, you need a new table set for your house, you need a new couch, you need a new whatever it is you need. It's time to start looking for the deals. And there are some great deals. There are some phenomenal deals. I've seen couch prices go down in half now. There are some great deals on automobiles. I'm actually looking for a company truck right now and may have one that I may buy. The deals are: one, do you need it? Two, can it save you money? And three, is it much less than it used to be? And I'm talking about 40, 50% less than what it used to be. If it's only down 10%, hold off. It's going to go down more. This is the beginning. And a lot of people are saying it looks like the great financial crisis of the early 2000s. And honestly, it really does. The reasoning's not the same. It's not going to be housing that takes everybody down. It's actually going to be credit that takes everyone down. People have overextended, gone way too far, and are now out of money. They can't keep feeding the dragon, the supply demand to keep the prices up. There's no more demand. So supply will build. As supply builds, people find they don't have as many buyers. They have to start cutting prices to beat out the other sellers. So you just start looking now. You find a good deal, you want to take it, take it. If it works for you, you can afford it. It might even save you some money. Get the deal. Don't go super crazy, but if you need it now, grab it. As the next year or so, I would say a year to 18 months go, you'll see a downward pressure on a lot of stuff. Houses are going to be getting cheaper. They're already cheaper in some areas, but other areas, you didn't have as much new building, so you don't have as many new homes to add. Places where they built a lot, Texas, Florida, a lot of the Southeast, they built so many new homes that they're now contending with resales. So you have so much new inventory hitting the market that prices can't contain themselves anymore. Somebody's going to say, hey, I'll take 50 grand off my price. I'll take 100 grand off my price. I need it sold now. I have to move. That's the deal you're looking for right now. Now, if somebody's sitting on it for a couple months, let them sit a little longer. It's going to be okay. As we go towards the election cycle, you'll be seeing people trying to manipulate the whole system to keep it looking like it's grand, it's all cake. Don't worry, it's going to be fine. Let me tell you somebody. As someone who actually looks at the system, it's not going to be fine. That's okay, because if you prepare for it, you'll have success. So, if you need it now, great, grab it. If you don't need it right now, as we go through the year, there will be better and better deals for these places that are going out of business, the furniture stores, the food, the restaurants. They'll be doing end of time sales. They'll be doing, just letting everything go at the end. Go support them if you want to. That end push is able to catch them up on any creditors and be able to close the place down and maybe reopen. I hope some of these places, especially the small mom and pop shops that are closing that I see, hopefully you can just kind of retool and go somewhere different. A local one for me is the Al Capone's or Capone's dinner show. Basically, kind of like a mystery dinner thing. You sit down, you eat dinner, they do a show, who got murdered and stuff like that. They actually just closed just this weekend, and they're looking for a new place. My guess is the rent went up way too high, so they couldn't stay where they were at. They've been there for a long time too, but hopefully, as commercial real estate gets hit, and it's still getting hit hard, some places may get foreclosed and moved into a new owner who gets it at a deal and says, "Hey, I don't need to rent this out for as much as everybody else because I got it at a cheaper price." So companies that close down some places will be able to come back, reopen somewhere else with a cheaper rent, and be able to get themselves back on their own feet after that. So I'm hoping for the best for those, small people who are working with this, and we'll see how it goes. I think they can. It may not just be like a 30-day, 60-day thing. You might see a business close for a year and then try coming back. So hoping that it all works out. But as we've seen through the last 100 years or so, we have these cycles that go up and down. There's recessions, there's depressions, there's just generally crappy times. And then you come back to the good times. You always think when it's good, it's never going to end. You always think when it's bad, you'll never get out of it. But time marches on. We keep on moving. We keep on building stuff. Somebody comes up with an innovative way to change all of it, and it's not so bad. So if you're looking for something, I would say start putting feelers out there, see what you could find. Might be a good deal. So hold on, sorry. There we go. So the economy. Last year should have been a bad year. Should have been as bad as this year is going to be, but it should have been a bad year. And I keep looking back to try to figure out what happened. How did it not drop off like so many of the economists said? We were bound for something that was supposed to happen. And I think the problem was you had a lot of free money going around. You had a lot of programs that were being thrown out to people. Hey, you can't afford your home, we'll help you with that. Hey, can't afford your car, we'll pay the first couple payments of this year to get you going. Hey, you can't afford your electric, we'll take care of that. Don't worry about it. And I think those were programs that were thrown out there to keep the economy going and keep it smoothly on track, to simply keep everyone happy and not asking questions. Big question I saw today thrown around is who's actually in charge right now? I'd love to see a poll of the American people as to who thinks anyone's actually in charge right now. Then you could do another poll on who you actually think is in charge, but do you think anyone is actually in charge right now? Craziness, I know. So, who's actually running the show right now? Well, I don't think a lot of people think it's the president. I'm not even sure a lot of people think it's the vice president. So, is there a secret group waiting in the wing, ready to pounce if anything goes bad during this election cycle? I don't know, but I wouldn't put it out of my mind. So we had the vice president as a set up as the new presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. Kamala Harris was officially named the Democratic challenger and then was able to name her vice presidential candidate for future vice presidency. It was Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota. Not sure too many people are familiar with him outside of the Midwest. He was getting featured pretty well over the last couple weeks because he was one of the contenders. And well, if there's one thing you have to know about Tim Walz or Walz, he was the governor during 2020 for Minnesota. Okay, you don't remember what's happening? Okay. Here's what was happening in 2020 in Minnesota. Uh there was a death of a man named George Floyd in Minneapolis. And BLM extremists used this death to state that the world was burning to the ground and there was racism everywhere and running through the streets rampant. And that to beat that, you should run through the streets and burn it to the ground. And Minneapolis was a city that took a lot of fire, a lot of heat, and pretty much burned to the ground. There's a great video out on Twitter right now that shows before and after. Uh, I think they're Google shots, but they the properties are the same, and some of them are burned completely to the ground. A lot of stores just closed up, didn't want to deal with anything, and the National Guard was late to the show, but there was a reason. The governor never called them. He delayed calling them. There's a report that his own daughter revealed where the National Guard was going to be deployed once they were deployed, so that the anarchists could run through and burn what they needed to burn and then get out of there quickly. So This was the governor at that time. All you have to do is watch video of Minneapolis during 2020 and say, do you want the guy that was handling that running your country? I don't know. I kind of think I wouldn't. Imagine if the whole country burned down with him at the helm. Now, there's his record, and we'll break it down a little more on a angry session. But let me just say, I'm not sure who the more liberal progressive is, Harris or Walls. You'd be surprised at how much their records go to the extreme. So we'll break that down on an Angry Sessions video that I'll post up later this week. And we'll go through that. Does it change the election? Well, for some people, it's going to, because they're going to scream and shout and say it's the ending. It's the end. I gotta say this though. Here's a weird take on this. Bear with me for a minute. Here's a weird take. You notice how the Democrats were pushing for DEI, including equity, diversity. It's really funny how this summer it's been what some people are calling white boy summer. Okay? Stick with me for a minute. Biggest movie right now, Deadpool and Wolverine. Two white guys lead the movie. Okay? White guy versus white guy in the election. Okay? Huh. Okay. One white guy goes down. They toss in the DEI hire. And who does she need to save her? To get her over the finish line? I really thought maybe it was going to be another, person of color, maybe a lady, double female tag team lineup for the Democratic Party. No, turned out to be a white guy, a Midwest country white guy. That's what saved the Democratic Party. That's what they're touting will be the best. Isn't that a little ironic? Isn't that just a little just white boy summer adding to it? That's that didn't escape me. I found that fascinating that you picked the white guy to help you along, to get you right to the finish line. Because Harris hasn't really come out and said what she's going to do or how she's going to run the country or anything. She was the border czar, and the border really hadn't done anything. So, what does anybody really have to look at her on? No, 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 nothing. Okay. So yeah, he's pretty much thrown in. The white guy's thrown in just to save the whole damn thing, and we go from there. So I thought that was kind of interesting. White guys are saving the day. So, does it change anything? No, doesn't change anything. He is radically extreme. They'll tote him out there. They'll ask him about his policies. They'll ask him how Minnesota's going, which doesn't look like the greatest out there. And I think people really have woken up enough to see that this is not going to work for much longer. And if the economy keeps going down like this, they really can't even throw up the economy anymore. I mean, what do you throw up? Stuff that people have on like line 5, line 6, abortion, women's rights. Like, hey, if we're all poor, hungry, possibly dead, does anybody's rights matter? Not really. So you might want to fix that first, then you can go back to talking about all that other stuff. So I think everything's still in an okay position. Just got to make sure there's no more attempted assassinations, and I think you're going to be okay. I think you're going to be okay. Don't pack your bags for another country just yet. I think it'll be okay. I think it'll be okay. All right. Finally, the Olympics are wrapping up. They're about 5 days away from being over. And I got to say, I'm pretty sure the controversies were much bigger than any of the actual winners. I mean, can you name me at least 2 people that won a gold medal in these Olympics for any team, any country? I'll wait. Hold on. Oh, you got an answer? Okay. What's the answer? No, no. I can't really tell you. I know Simone Biles, I think, won a gold medal. Not sure if it was the team or as an individual, but I mean, I can't really tell you anybody else who maybe was in that. So, but I can tell you the controversies. Well, started off with the Last Supper. The headless woman with fire shooting all over the place, the horse going down the river. Let's see, the guy from Turkey who could shoot a gun with no sights, no eye patches, no ear protection, no nothing, no safety measures at all. There was the guy who tried going vaulting, I believe, over the pole, and his pole actually knocked the pole off. Let's see what else was there. There was some, who was it? There was some swimmer who got thrown out of the international village, I believe they call it, where all the athletes stay for inappropriate behavior, though they never actually said what the behavior was. There was one gentleman who decided to sleep outside in the yard, basically, next to a bench because he couldn't stand being there. The biggest controversy was the river. The Seine River, I believe is how they say it, apparently was still so dirty because for a year I've heard they've been trying to dredge it and clean it up. It was still so dirty, it was causing people to be sick. There were the boxers, which still fighting YouTube on what I believe were my comments on this in 2 Men in a Room on Thursday. So if you're not seeing that episode, it's because I'm still fighting on that. But I'll say this, the two manliest boxers ended up competing for the gold medal. So I'm pretty sure you just take them out and create your own category now with that. And you've got a whole new category for boxing right there. I mean, kind of works itself out. So you got that controversy. You've had what? couple others that are probably out there. Way more than actually knowing what the sports are or what they're doing. Apparently, there's a speed climbing event where some I believe it was a Norwegian woman. She got it in like 6.7 seconds, just flying up a wall. I didn't even know that was a sport. I'm pretty sure my cat could have done it in about 3.2 seconds. So don't know what's going on with these Olympics, but it might be time to just shelve it, retool it, bring him back in about 10 years, and then we'll see if we can make it work. Honestly, just take the controversy out of it. Just bring the athletes in, do a quick ceremony where they get to say their country and have a motto from their country or something, or a speech from their country. Do some fireworks, and then you just get into the games, present the winners, go through everything, and call it a day. Seems a lot easier than whatever the hell they're doing now, which I'm hearing is actually where the most money's made. It's not in the athletes competing, it's actually in the events that go on, the shows, the pageantry, all the setup for the Olympics is where a lot of the money is made and pushed. And these athletes don't really get paid anything. I mean, you're training all your life, you're doing the sport you love, you get a gold medal, and then nobody remembers you. I mean, I haven't seen any Wheaties boxes with people on it anymore. I haven't seen really much sponsorship for these athletes. So where does it go from here? I mean, in 4 years, is anybody really even going to care anymore? They really need to retool it, bring it back to basics, and make it so it's just a lot better than where it's at right now. So, something that's way more fun is the World Cup, which is in about 2 years, and I'll be ready for that. It's much more fun. Much more fun. All right, so that's the show today. It's a quick one. We're gonna wrap this up. And still on YouTube for this and Rumble, and we're still working on Twitter to try to get that out to them. But I want to thank everyone who does watch this, shares it, likes it. Thank you, people. You keep the lights on, as they say. And I'm happy to do this. I'm not asking for any money. I do it for free. So join me every Tuesday for the Angriest Man in Orlando show. And then on Thursdays, I co host on Two Men in a Room, which is also a fun topical show where we get to discuss all kinds of weird stuff. So thank you everyone for watching. Hope to see you next Tuesday. And do stay tuned for the Angry Sessions. Those 10-minute videos will pop up from time to time. So make sure you're subscribed or follow. That way, you'll get the pop-up to know that that video is there. Or when you tune in Tuesday, you get to see what else was added through the week. All right, everyone. Have a great night. And as always, stay angry.